Hey everyone, it's Rose. Welcome back to my channel, and today's video is going to be my reading stats from 2020. When I first started my channel, I did this video for 2019, and I really enjoyed it, sifting through all of the books and like my Goodreads page or whatever, finding all of this information so that I could do this video, and that was really fun, and so I wanted to do it again for 2020. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Along with the stats, I'm also going to be sharing with you all of the books that I've read this year, and also telling you what my favorite books were and what my least favorite books were. So I'm very excited for this video. Let's just jump right into it because I don't want this video to be 30 minutes long. Okay. So at the end of every year, Goodreads comes up with all of this information based on all of the books that you've read, and that's what the majority of this is going to be off of, but I did come up with some other stuff on my own. So this year I read a total of 30 books, which is very exciting for me. That's 10 more than I read last year, and it's 5 more than the Goodreads goal that I set this year. I believe I met my Goodreads goal in September. I read a total of 9,348 pages. The shortest book I read was 97 pages, and the longest book that I read was 629 pages. So the average book length that I read this year was 311. The average rating for all of the books that I read this year was a 4.1. So I had a pretty good reading year. Most of the books that I read were at least 3 out of 5 stars, but most of them were like 5 stars. This year I had 15 5-star books. 4 of them were rereads. I had 7 4-star, 7 3-star, no 2 stars, and 1 1-star book. In terms of male versus female authors, I read 7 male and 23 female authors this year. I read 16 physical books, 10 audiobooks, and 4 ebooks. This year I got more into listening to audiobooks and reading books on my phone, and I think that's what helped me read a lot more. I don't know why, but I used to think that listening to audiobook didn't count as reading. I don't know why I thought that, but I thoroughly enjoyed listening to the audiobooks that I listened to this year. I did discover the Libby app this year, which is an app that you use to connect to your library card, and you can check books out of your library on that app, and it's very useful, especially during a pandemic when you can't go to the library. So the next thing that I have is how many books I read per month. And the most books that I read in a month was 6, and March and May are tied for the month where I read the most books, and then June and September are tied for second with 5 books read those 2 months. And then for August, October, and probably December, no books read in those months. So that was the least amount that I've read in a month. I had finished a book in November, and then I was hoping to squeeze in another one, but at this point in the year, when I'm filming this, I really don't see myself being able to read another book. I just don't. And then in terms of genres, I read 14 romance books. That was my most read genre of the year. 6 thrillers, 3 nonfiction, which I actually thought that I read more nonfiction this year. I don't know why, but 2 fantasy and 5 fiction. There's subcategories within fiction, but I did not have the energy to figure out what specifically those books were, so I just put them in fiction. So now, the moment we've all been waiting for. All of the books that I read in 2020. First is Coraline by Neil Gaiman, Eleanor and Park by Ramble Rowell, The Phantom Prince by Elizabeth Kendall, The Miraculous Journey of Edward T. Lane, The Silence Between Us by Alison Gervais, Brothers on Life by Matt and Mike Zuckery, If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo, 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher, Birthday by Meredith Russo, The Chain by Adrienne McKinty, Eclipse by Stephanie Meyer, All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban, The Science of Monsters by Meg Hafdal and Kelly Florence, Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner by Stephanie Meyer, Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, An American Marriage by Tayari Jones, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, The 5-Year Plan by Carla Burgess, Regretting You by Colleen Hoover, Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, Meet Cute by Helena Hunting, and Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Frederick Bachman, There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins, The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, Heartstopper by Alice Oseman, and finally, Call Me By Your Name by Andre Aciman. So if you were keeping track, then you'll realize that I only counted up to 28 books, and that's because I will not be talking about 2 of the books that I read in this video. Just know that I did read 30 and I'm not just lying to you. Really quick before I tell you what my favorite books of the year were, I wanted to let you guys know that I did participate in 2 readathons this year. I meant to mention that earlier, but I forgot. I participated in the Backlist readathon in March. I had such a fun time with that readathon, and I hope they do it again next year. And also, I participated in Romanceathon in June. It was their second year doing it this year, and it was such a good time. It's where I discovered one of my new favorites. So a lot of booktubers usually make like a whole separate video talking about like their most disappointing books of the year or like their favorite books of the year. Well, I don't read nearly enough books in a year to make like one video dedicated to all of those books, because the video would be like 2 minutes long. So I thought I would just include it in this video. I think I'm gonna start with the books that I hated this year, so that I can finally just like let it go. So I really only hated one book this year, and it's the book that I gave 1 star, and it was There Is Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. This book was not good. This book was so dumb. Like, I wrote in my notes from when I did my recent reads video, I wrote in my notes, 1 out of 5 stars, do not recommend. This book was so stupid. Like, that's literally what I wrote, because it was. Like, this book was just not it. It's supposed to be a thriller, but there's nothing thrilling about this book. Like, at no point was I like scared or anxious about anything that was happening. And it was more of like a dramatic teen romance with like a sprinkle of thrill. It just wasn't good. And yeah, I am not hating on you if this is a book that you enjoyed, or if this author has written something that you enjoyed. By all means, this is just my opinion, and we aren't all going to agree. So there are definitely some books this year that I didn't hate, nor did I not really enjoy, but I also didn't really like it either. So in that regard, they were pretty disappointing. One of them was The 5-Year Plan. I really thought I was gonna love that one. Maybe the first half was a little bit promising, but then like the second half, it lost me, and so it ended up not being what I thought it was gonna be like. And then also The Hating Game, I thought I was gonna like a lot more than I did. With that one, I realized that I didn't really care about the characters or anything that was happening to them, so that's why I didn't really enjoy that one a whole lot. So some honorable mentions before I let you know what my favorite books of the year were. All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban. That one was interesting. The message behind the book is so important. This book does discuss topics like suicide, so if that's a sensitive subject for you, then maybe stay away from this book, but otherwise, this book was really good. I really enjoyed it. Also, An American Marriage was an excellent read. This book was a selection for Oprah's book club, if that gives you a little more push to go ahead and read it. So now for my favorite books of the year. So aside from Birthday by Meredith Russo, which if you've been watching my videos long enough, then you'll know that this one is one of my favorite books of all time. So this one I reread this year, so we're not gonna include this in my favorites this year. Aside from that one, I have 4 books that I absolutely love this year. These aren't in any particular order, but the first one being Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I read this in November. This graphic novel was so cute. The artwork, because this is the only graphic novel I've ever read, the artwork is like the best thing that I've ever seen. But the story was so good, and I can't wait to read the second and the third one and the fourth one when it comes out in May of 2021, I believe. You hear that? My brother thinks it's a good idea to rile up the dogs at 9 p.m. And then we have Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. So I didn't know until after I read this book that this one's actually YA, but it doesn't feel like it's YA. But yeah, this one is so good, and I recommend it. 5 out of 5 stars. I should probably tell you what it's about, right? Jesus, you suck at this, Rose. This one follows Morgan and Clara, who just lost their husband/father in a car accident, and they are trying to navigate life without him. Morgan falls in love with her husband's brother, and Clara develops a romance with this kid that her dad didn't really like when he was alive. And then we have Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. This one is my second favorite. I know for factual that this one is my second favorite. So maybe these are in order, and I just don't want to admit that they're in order. Yes, these are in order. So second favorite, Regretting You is third favorite, and so on. This one is about, what the hell is her name? Kaylin and Daxton, who went to law school together, and 5 years later, when Daxton's family is going through some things, he reunites with Kaylin, and he is asking her to help him with like legal stuff. 5 years ago, Daxton like shattered her heart, so she's very hesitant, but she is willing to help him out anyways. So I think we know where this is going. And then the most recent book that I read this year also happens to be my #1 book of the year. It's Call Me By Your Name by Andre Asselman. I absolutely loved this book, and the movie, and the audiobook. They were all so good. They were excellent. And this book is very, I don't know what the word is, but I'm going to go with intellectual. And I am not very intelligent. So I'm going to have to read this book like 3 more times before I actually like get it, you know? But aside from that, the romance is exquisite. Oh my god. It was so good. I love the characters, and the setting is gorgeous. A lot of this book is Elio, he's the main character, Elio's inner thinking, so there's not a whole lot of dialogue. That's probably like the only thing that I didn't like about this book, because I'd just be reading paragraph after paragraph after paragraph for hours. But this book was so good, and I can never actually explain why I like this book so much. I've probably tried like 5 times. In my recent reads video, I believe, I basically said that this book was so good for like 5 minutes, and that's all I could get out. That's it. Like, this book was so good. This book is just so excellent. And the movie, oh my god. We're not even gonna talk about the movie, but it was so good. Holy shit, this book was so good. This book follows Elio and his family, who are very well educated. His father is a professor, and every year he has a student come and stay in their house with them in Italy. And so this year it just happens to be Oliver, who is staying with them for 6 weeks to finish his doctoral thesis. So I didn't know if I wanted to share this, but I'm just going to do it. I tagged a singular page in this book. So do you ever just read a book and there is a line from that book that just sticks with you forever after you read it? Yes, that's what this tab is. It's a quote that I can't stop thinking about for a month. Like, it's been a month since I've read this book, and I think about it every single day. And I can't exactly explain why it means a lot to me, but it just speaks to me like volumes of things. And I'm going to get it tattooed on my body. Just listen to this, okay? So this is in the midst of a very important monologue from Elio's father at the end of this book. So here it is. Nature has cunning ways of finding our weakest spot. Holy shit, that's good. I need to go. So those were all of my stats for 2020. Holy cow, did I have a good reading year. Most of the books that I read were at least 3 stars, so that's good. But it's also not good because it means that I'm staying in my comfort zone and not reading anything else outside of that. So next year I'm definitely going to try and get out of it a little bit. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.